Greg, man, you look so handsome. You know that? And I usually wear a Peloton shirt, but now I got to wear this because of you. Just to let you know. Hey, Greg, it's so nice. It's so nice to have you with us. Thank you so much. And this year's theme is about connection with the goSMP. So we're excited to have you here.
I'm excited to be here. Thank you, Joe. I really appreciate the opportunity.
And Greg, you are currently the chief of protocol for the MedCom, but you have a couple stories, a couple secrets to share with us. So tell us about that.
Well, I wouldn't call them secrets because a lot of people know about them. But one of the things I think you're driving at, Joe, is the fact that I began protocol at the White House. 5 years, 3 years with President George W. Bush, and 2 years with the first 2 years of Barack Obama. And that really opened up the gate for me to be involved with protocol. I didn't know at the time that was going to be a trajectory in my life that changed everything about my profession. But that's how I started.
I see. I mean, that type of experience, I can't even imagine. We're touching today on Daniel Coyle's book, Flourish, and here it is. But what's at the heart of the book, and very similar to our theme for the goSMP, is that connection isn't something that you find, it's something that you build. So when I thought about that, I said, you know what? I wonder how this relates to Greg's experience at the White House. All these teams that were out there, the teams that were doing the security, the teams that were doing the food services, the teams that were doing the protocol. And it almost reminded me of that great Netflix movie, The Residents. But we know none of that bad stuff's going to happen to you, Greg.
No murder in the White House.
No murders in the White House. But Craig, tell us, what are the parallels? What did you see?
Well, first of all, I thought that show was done very well because of all of the production behind the scenes with the White House and how it was done. But the mechanics and the choreography of what goes on behind the scenes is so true. You have to connect. You come in connecting with people and understanding what that connection is going to look like. Lots of different personalities. So you have to learn how to web and weave inside those personalities in order to get the job done.
And, he talks in his book that you have to be present and create shared spaces and embrace the messiness with compassion. Do you have an example of that?
Embrace the messiness with compassion. I do have an example of that. One I'm not proud of. As the lead social aide for the president, one of my final events was at the UN event in New York with President Obama. We had an incident where I'm sorry?
The UN?
Yeah, the UN, yes.
Wow,
yes,
wow.
Yes, sorry, yeah. And we had an incident where one of my aides, she did something, she was kind of curt with the staff at the hotel. And I think at the time we were at the Ward Office Astoria. That's when it was the Ward Office Astoria. But anyway, she was very curt and the lady addressed me with it. And instead of me being more compassionate and having empathy with my fellow aide, I kind of downsized her and really berated her in front of the person that gave me information about her conduct.
Yeah.
And when I saw the look on her face, I realized then I really not only messed up as a leader, I messed up as a friend because we were very close. And all I had to do was just take her aside, have a conversation with her. But I did not do that. In my anxiety of trying to control the situation, I made the huge mistake of berating her in front of someone. And it was embarrassing. And as a leader, I took the hit on that. And I had to repair that relationship for it. It took me years to get that relationship back in order.
Yeah. Those situations are tough. I mean, there's such a stressful, I can't even imagine how stressful all of that is. But, so many different teams out there, so many different groups of people under a very stressful and very unique environment. You once
zero-sum gang. It's the President of the United States. It's a zero-sum gang. We can't make these type of mistakes.
You mentioned that all of this is all about the connections, the connectors.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, the whole reason why, as a social aide at the White House, I'll use that as an example, the whole reason why you're there as an aide is to connect. Because individuals are showing up to the White House. They're not sitting down. These individuals are coming to receptions and black tie events. They're not actually sitting with the President and the First Lady of the United States. So it takes the aides. We have to make sure they feel comfortable. You'd be surprised at how many people, particularly celebrities, they come into that space at the White House and they don't know what to do with themselves. They feel very out of place. And it's my role to make sure they feel comfortable. as an extension of the president and the first lady in their home.
Well, you know, you do that now for my wife, and we're also very grateful for what you do. What would you say to our audience of spouses here? See, these are very senior spouses who are trying to inculcate this type of culture. What would you say about connection?
Well, those leaders already have some experience, but one thing I would say is, I think Daniel Cole mentions this in his book, take off the armor. I wore a lot of armor for a very long time. I was very, very intimidated to be vulnerable. And it wasn't until I let myself go just a bit. Just because when you go grocery shopping, you don't have to tell everybody what's on the grocery list, but you can talk about a couple of items. That's the way I like to put it. I like to keep things close to the vest, but I had to learn, I had to let that go. Vulnerability for me opened up my opportunity to connect with other people. And then I'm more engaged, and I like to get more engaged with the person than myself. One of the hardest questions I have to answer is, how you doing? What's going on with you? I can ask that question to you, Joe, because I know I'm going to get some good information. I can also piggyback on that. But if someone asks me that question initially, I get small talk is not fun for me. So I really like to connect by really engaging with the person I'm talking to or speaking with and getting more information about them.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Greg. You know, this is a wonderful opportunity as we continue on our theme of connection. So stand by for further videos out there, everyone in the audience. And Greg, thank you for having us with us.
Thank you, Joe. I appreciate it.
Take care.
Talk to you.